This is a CBS News special report. It is 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and we're seeing the first in a nationwide wave of student walkouts to protest gun violence. These are live pictures from Parkland, Florida, where exactly 1 month ago, a gunman killed 17 people at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. Students who survived that shooting are a driving force behind today's national walkout. I'm John Dickerson with Gail King and Nora O'Donnell in New York.
We expect this scene to be repeated every hour at 10 a.m. local time. More than 3,000 school protests are taking place all around the country this morning, and each walkout will last 17 minutes. It represents each of the people who died in the massacre.
Some school districts are going along with the walkouts. Others have threatened to discipline students who leave their classrooms. Adriana Diaz is at Stoneman Douglas High in Parkland, Florida, where the idea for this series of protests first began. Adriana, good morning.
Good morning. The walkouts are starting here on the East Coast, and they're stretching from Florida all the way to Hawaii. Now, they're going to take different forms in different schools. Here at Stoneman Douglas High School, many of the students will walk out to the football field. The school wants them to walk out. They want them to exercise their First Amendment rights, but they want it to be in a safe environment with adult supervision. In other schools, students will be walking out of classrooms and sitting down to hold a sit-in. We've also heard about students who are going to be walking out of their schools and walking to their local school districts. Now, some students won't be walking out completely. There's a group in Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia, that says they don't feel included in this movement. They feel that gun violence has long plagued their community, and it's been ignored. There's also been opposition to this walkout from the father of 14-year-old Elena Petty. She was killed here at Stoneman Douglas High School. In a tweet, Ryan Petty said he wants students not to walk out, but to walk up. Walk up to a kid sitting alone at lunch. Walk up to a kid who looks disgruntled. That is the way that you'll end and prevent another school shooting. Now, a lot of these students want legislative action. There are new gun laws here in Florida that passed after the shooting just on Friday. Students want to see similar measures nationwide. A lot of them are 18. A lot of them are turning 18 very soon, and they have their eye on the midterm election. Nora?
All right, Adriana, thank you. We also want to show you a walkout that is underway in Silver Spring, Maryland. These protests are not just about school shootings or gun violence. Some of them also plan to focus on issues like immigration and voting rights. DeMarco Morgan is outside Fiorella LaGuardia High School in New York City. DeMarco, good morning.
Good morning to you. We're actually a couple of blocks away from LaGuardia High School, and you can see behind me hundreds of students who walked out this morning to make a statement in silence. You see many of them sitting here. Over to my right here, you can see the kids who are lying down, taking part in a lie-in, basically that is set to last for 17 minutes to honor those students there in Florida who were killed, and also the adults who were killed in that situation. But I spoke to Kate Whitman. She is the organizer. She's a junior here at the high school, and I spoke to her earlier today, and I said, hey, what's your message here? Because we've seen protests, we've seen the conversation, we've had the conversation over the years after Columbine, the Pearl High School shooting, you name it. One by one, we have had this talk. What is your message here to the victims of the families of those who have been impacted by school violence, gun violence, and also school shootings there? And her message was simple and it was clear. It ends here. It stops now. And those words were so powerful, not just for the people out here, but for the people who are supporting them in this effort here. And she also talked about the power, because she knows that many of the students here and across the country who are taking part in this protest, they can't vote, especially this year. But she said they are having conversations with their parents now. So they're going to use their power with their parents, their guardians who can vote and go to the polls. And they expect to make a change and make a difference this year in the midterm elections, I should say. Back to you, Gail.
I understand. Well, the world is watching right now. Thank you very much, DeMarco. Let's go to Louisville and Emily Maha of our affiliate WLKY. Emily, good morning. What's happening there?
Good morning. Right now, hundreds of students across the Jefferson County Public School District are walking out, including students here at DuPont Manual High School. Now, it's very quiet out here as these students are standing in silence for 17 minutes to remember the 17 lives of those lost in Florida. Now, they've been organizing this walkout as part of the national movement for more than a week, and this is a school of more than 1,800 students, and they tell me they want their voices heard. One student says she couldn't sit in her classroom after the Florida shooting shooting and a shooting in western Kentucky where 2 students were killed earlier this year. Walkouts across the district have been organized by student groups working together. Last week, the district sent a letter to principals encouraging them to discuss with students alternative options to a walkout. Now, students will be allowed outside for only 17 minutes before returning to class. Any student who doesn't return could be disciplined. Now, the Jefferson County Teachers Association also encouraged principals and teachers to talk with students about alternative options, but they said if that was not something and students were going to participate in the walkout, student safety is the #1 priority. John, I'll send it back to you.
Emily Maha, thanks. Here's a look at protests in Indianapolis. As you're seeing those pictures, as we mentioned earlier, these walkouts are scheduled to last 17 minutes, one for each of the people killed in the Florida shooting a month ago. Let's now go to Maplewood, New Jersey, just across the Hudson River from New York City. Tony DeCopel is at Columbia High School. Tony, good morning.
Good morning, John. One of the big questions here at Columbia High School was just how many students would participate. Unlike at other schools where there's some hesitation or pushback from the administration, from teachers, here there is tremendous support. The police have shut down the road, and one of the administrators told me earlier that they expect near universal participation. And as you can see, there's 1,800 students in this school, and the front lawn is completely filled from here all the way back to the building. In fact, I've got Anna here, who is a freshman, who's going to tell us a little bit about why they have come out here today. What's the goal today?
Well, it's just the goal is to say that we had enough of feeling like we're in danger with these guns. It's 18-year-olds can have guns, and it's just not okay because 18-year-olds can go to this school and have guns and just shoot up the school, and it's not okay.
Are there students inside who have opted not to participate in the walkout?
I don't know for sure, but probably they probably have their opinions on guns and how they need guns and all of that, but yeah, probably.
Thank you very much, Anna. And John, again, the street is shut off. The participation of this 1,800-person school is near universal, and the goal is, as you can see on the signs here, enough. Orange is the color of gun violence awareness, and whatever legislative victories may or may not come in the days ahead, there is already one success story here, which is, in the students' view, making sure that the country doesn't move on quickly, doesn't forget, and may reach some sort of progress on the issue, in their view, of gun control. John, back to you.
Tony, thanks.
Thank you very much, Tony DeCopel. The crowds have started to gather outside the White House in Washington, D.C. as well. Major Garrett is there. Major?
Well, good morning. The crowd has been here for the better part of an hour. They're silent now in quiet protest, but I can tell you, Gail, Nora, and John, not more than 20 minutes ago, very loud, very boisterous, chanting, among other things, hey, hey, ho, ho, the NRA, meaning the National Rifle Association, has got to go. Lots of placards, a great deal of energy, and a sense of activism. President Trump is not here. He's in California heading to St. Louis for a campaign event and to tour the Boeing facility there in St. Louis. So he's not here to hear the protests or see them. But outside the White House, Pennsylvania Avenue, chock full of student protesters spilling into Lafayette Square just north of the White House.
All right, Major Garrett outside the White House. And again, we're talking about thousands of students all across this country that at 10 a.m. Eastern time in their time zone have planned this walkout. It is part of the Enough campaign. And what a display of student activism and democracy, and in some ways quite a different picture than what we've seen, as they are urging action. Congress has done nothing, and the president has done nothing either on this issue, as they have pledged to try and enact something, but yet to hold any particular votes on the issue of gun safety or gun violence. We want to let you know that our coverage will continue throughout the day on the CBS station and on our 24-hour streaming network, CBSN. You can watch it at cbsnews.com.
There will also be a full wrap-up tonight on the CBS Evening News with Jeff Glor. Some of you will return now to CBS This Morning.
This has been a CBS News Special Report. I'm Gail King with Nora O'Donnell and John Dickerson, CBS News, New York.
For news 24 hours a day, go to cbsnews.com.